Mentorship doesn't have to be in a formal capacity. You probably didn't propose to them with a ring and say, will you be my mentor? A manager is somebody typically has to check on you out of obligation, is going to do your quarterly reviews, approve your PTO, and you report to them on a org chart. But a mentor can be that person, but they typically go the extra mile. They're going to be invested in you as a person. That project managers specifically are really suited to be great mentors because they already care about people. You're attuned to those little things, checking in on people, remembering deadlines, remembering birthdays, remembering when to wish them luck before an exam. And you generally are able to juggle a lot of things at once. I'm Tessa Trach, and I'm currently a project manager at a cloud consultancy called Cloudforce based in National Harbor. And today we're going to talk a little bit about going beyond the project and mentoring the next generation of project managers. But before we get too deep in, we should talk about what is a mentor. In the purposes of today's conversation, we're going to use the definition of an experienced and trusted advisor or guide. So a mentor or in a mentorship dynamic, you're going to have a mentor and a mentee. And the mentor is going to have more experience in some elements, but I want to dispel the notion that a mentor has to be older in age. You can be a mentor at any stage of your career and life, and you can even find mentorship or guidance through somebody at a similar age to you, but they probably have more experience in some element or life thing. So you can be really in any phase of your life to be either a mentor or a mentee. And there are so many benefits to being in a mentorship dynamic, but they typically fall into two categories. It's like both professional and psychological. Some of the professional benefits include increased skills and career development, increased visibility in your field, increased job performance, and expansion into like what is even possible as a career. And then psychologically, some similar aspects where you have greater confidence, greater purpose, self-identity, greater sense of purpose, and increased job satisfaction, I think also impacts you psychologically. But either way, everyone engaging or both people engaging in this mentorship dynamic are impacted by these benefits and take these benefits back to their places of work, their institutions of research, their professional and personal circles. So no matter which side of that coin you're on, you're going to be engaging or gaining these benefits and taking it back to all aspects of your life. So make sure to remember that tip when you go back to your workplace on Monday. So as we go through this presentation, I want you to take a second to think about somebody that's impacted you. Have you had a mentor in your life? Have you been a mentor to somebody else? Where have you found these relationships? What elements of the relationships really stood out to you? Were they personal or professional? Were they positive or negative? Hopefully positive in this case. But I want you to keep in mind somebody in your life that has had an impact on you that you might consider a mentor. And as I mentioned about the age thing, mentorship doesn't have to be in a formal capacity. You probably didn't propose to them with a ring and say, will you be my mentor? But you probably are gaining some advice or guidance from them, and it's usually a mutually beneficial dynamic. So in the rest of my presentation, I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal journey, how I got here as a project manager, as a mentor, the mentee's perspective specifically, then go into the practical framework I created, which focuses more on the mentor side, and I'll leave plenty of time for question and answers, and I hope you'll engage throughout with me. My first time using a clicker. Okay. As mentioned in my bio, my personal journey actually started right here at the University of Maryland. I'm a really proud Terp. I earned my degree in broadcast journalism, so I was really trying to hide the wire in here as my training taught me, but this is what we're working with today. And while I was studying journalism, I discovered my passion for stories and people. I really love working with others. I love engaging in conversations. I love giving people the space to listen. And then I started working as a resident assistant. And it was there that I think my journey to project management started before I really knew what that was. But I learned a lot of skills in both crisis and people management. Again, as a 20-year-old, I didn't know what those terms were, but I was working with people in different stages of their life, different stages of inebriation, different crises that they were navigating on the daily. And it really taught me a lot about how to work with others and meet them where they're at, whether, again, they're inebriated or they're just missing home or they don't know how to do their own laundry. And I really credit a lot of my success today from that very first position because I was exposed to so many different opportunities, both good and or stressful and otherwise. And I look back really fondly. So if there are any young terps in here, I really encourage you to do that, even if it's really hard. Actually, and then really quick on mentorship, it was at the University of Maryland that I engaged with a lot of the amazing staff and leadership here on campus. And I found many great mentors for myself. And one of them is actually how I got into my next role. And she saw that I was looking for jobs at the end of graduation and offered me an opportunity because she saw what I was capable of. So that was my first experience benefiting from mentorship that I can remember. That led me to my next job, which is at St. Timothy's School, which is an all-girls boarding school in Baltimore, Maryland. And there I was an associate dean, which is absolutely crazy to be as an associate dean at 22 years old. But I had my first experience here as a mentor. I was doing, again, some project management things by a different title, but I was managing events, I was managing traditions, I was managing parents, and I was managing students away from home halfway across the world for the first time. And I had a group of student advisees here that was part of my role. So I was voluntold that I was going to be in this role. But it was a really great experience where I got to also realize that you need to meet people where they are and provide something different in each relationship. Some students needed a listening ear to say they were missing home or they didn't like the food in the cafeteria. Some students needed somebody to give guidance on what class should I take, what sports should I do, what do I do after school. One of my students actually also had a fear of calling, like using the phone, because she was, I guess that's Gen Z. But I was like, you're going to order pizza. And she asked if I could do it for her. And I said, how about we try to do this together? I'll sit here while you call the pizza guy. But, encouraging new skills and opportunities. And some students just needed a place to go when they got overwhelmed and wanted to cry in private. So being a mentor here, I was closer in age to some of them as more like a sister than a teacher because of my age. But it was a really great opportunity and I grew really fond of those relationships. And that's, again, where I felt it was so important to keep nurturing others. After that, I moved on to working at World Central Kitchen, which is a global disaster relief nonprofit. And I started working there in social media and communications because I love the mission and it was a pandemic and life happened. But it was here that I also benefited from a really impactful mentor. We were doing a lot. It was the beginning of the pandemic. Everyone is just trying their best. But I was the benefit of somebody who was able to zoom out and see how my skills could really fit into the larger picture of the organization and how I could be better utilized elsewhere. And he basically created a project management role for me. This was the first time I heard of project management. And I was like, oh, you need to be organized. You need to meet deadlines and you need to talk to people. Like, this is just me. But he was like, yeah, this is actually a job. So it was really exciting for me to figure that out. And in this new role, I was under a new manager who later became a mentor. And it's here I want to highlight the difference between a manager and a mentor. A manager is somebody typically who's on paper that has to check on you out of obligation, is going to do your quarterly reviews, approve your PTO, and you report to them on a org chart. But a mentor can be that person, but they typically go the extra mile. They're going to be invested in you as a person. They're going to want to support you, see you grow, encourage you to be your best self. And I got really lucky that my manager also became a mentor, but that's not always the case. But it was this person that really inspired me to then want to be in her shoes. And I saw what an impact she had on my life, that I felt so passionate and so fortunate that I got to be on the receiving end of that as a mentee. And to this day, we no longer work together, but she still sends me job descriptions she thinks I'd be good at, podcasts she heard with skills I've told her I've been trying to improve on, all these kinds of things. And that going the extra mile means so much to me. And I think that's one of the true benefits of mentorship. And when I was ready to move on and improve my project management skills after I got a taste and I was like, this is a real career, I can do it. I moved on and I applied for a job at Cloudforce, which is where I work now. And here I'm the project manager, team lead. I earned my PMP while I was here. And I'm now in a management role where I oversee 6 other people. And I was also the benefit of somebody who saw my greater skills and realized that I could be doing it in a larger part of the organization. And so now, as I said, I'm a manager, but I'm really striving to be a mentor. I care about the people aspect. I want to do a good job, obviously. My boss is here, so I have to say that, but I really feel strongly about caring about the people. And that's where all these experiences looking back, I can see how everything really fits together. But when I was here at the University of Maryland, sitting in this room, listening to somebody else on the stage, I had no clue what I was going to do. And I thought I was going to be on TV, but maybe this is the closest I get to that. So anyways, all this experience is to say that through this, I realized that project managers specifically are really uniquely suited to be great mentors because they already care about people. You are really attuned to you have great attention to detail, so you're attuned to those little things, checking in on people, remembering deadlines, remembering birthdays, remembering when to wish them luck before an exam. And you generally are able to juggle a lot of things at once. And I think mentorship involves a little bit of that too. So I hope throughout this presentation, you can think about how your skills and the job that you're already doing can lend themselves to other relationships, whether personally or professionally. Okay, now that you've learned a little bit about me, I want to talk more about the mentee's point of view. So as you saw on my journey, I've been both a mentor and a mentee, and I think you can be both at the same time. I hope I'm always growing as a mentee, and I hope I'm also helping people grow at the same time as a mentor. So kind of being in this middle ground, I think is awesome and is really unique. And as I mentioned before, the mentor is typically somebody that has more experience in something, but I don't want that to seem like the mentee has nothing to offer here. The mentee also has a unique ability to offer feedback to the mentor to help that person grow their skills and leadership or management skills. And otherwise, it also offers a different perspective. You're coming from a different place of life. You have a different identity. You have a different experiences that you can offer. So the mentee is also a key aspect to this dynamic. So I don't want anyone to feel that one is greater than the other because they're both key. Otherwise, you don't have a mentorship dynamic. Oh, so I was going to say, you might be in the mentee's seat or at a mentee phase in your life, if you will, if you are looking for something new, if you feel like you're at a crossroads, if you're ready to take the next step, again, personally or professionally, if you are seeking advice or guidance on something, if you're exploring a new career or a new identity, you might be seeking somebody that has the experience you're looking for that can help guide you and advocate for you. And so there's a couple challenges you might face in this role, and I want to help you reframe those as opportunities. So the first challenge you might face is finding a good fit. How the heck do you know who's going to be the right mentor for you? It's going to be hard and it's going to feel scary, but don't worry because it's actually an opportunity to determine the criteria before beginning your search. This is an opportunity for you to sit down, maybe at a coffee shop, maybe with your journal, maybe with your iPad, whatever it is, and have a conversation with yourself that helps you understand what it is that you're looking for. Have a deep talk. For me personally, I don't love sitting alone with my thoughts, but if you put some music on in the background, I think you can make it happen. So a couple of questions to consider when you're having this inner dialogue are, why are you seeking a mentor? What is it you're looking for? What are you seeking to gain from this relationship? Is it skills? Is it advice? Is it, I don't know, a new perspective? What skills do you want to improve? If it is skills based, are they personal? Are they professional? Are you looking to improve your Excel skills? Or are you looking to improve your conversational skills in a networking setting? With whom do you want to expand your network? Again, if this is professional, maybe this is the place for you. Or if it's personal, maybe you want to go to a group that's based in the town that you just moved to. And what values are important to you in this relationship? I think with any good relationship, any strong relationship, I should say, it starts with having similar values, connecting on a deeper level. And similarly, what specific identity factors are you seeking? If, again, you're seeking out a personal connection, maybe a new identity that you're exploring is really important here. Or if you're seeking a professional connection, seeing somebody who looks like you in that role is going to be really important to helping you see how you can get there. Another challenge, once you've had this conversation, once you've had your matcha, once you've journaled it out and you're feeling like you're ready to go and what you're looking for in a mentor, the next challenge you might face is knowing where to look. Another big looming thing feels overwhelming. How do I get this person? I know this figure, I've drafted in my mind in my journal, but how do I actually turn them into reality? This is also an opportunity because mentors are everywhere. There are so many places to seek. I know this seems counterproductive to it not being overwhelming, but it's really a great opportunity. So a couple places that I would suggest you consider are within your current organization, company, or institution. So for example, I work at a cloud consultancy as a project manager, but just down the hall from me, there are a lot of people who know how to code, or people who work in marketing and have great advice on Canva, or people who work in HR and have great people skills. So if I have interest in any of those other things, I can just walk down the hall. We already have a commonality. They probably know who I am. We share something in common. It wouldn't be that hard or scary to reach out. And again, I want to remind you that this mentor you might be seeking doesn't have to be older, but they have more experience. I've been a project manager for X number of years, but I don't have any marketing experience. So somebody else can really help guide me with that. Another suggestion, is university alumni networks. As I mentioned, I'm a proud Terp. I've been heavily involved in many alumni networks. When I moved to a new city, I didn't know how to meet people necessarily, so I joined my alumni network. We already had something in common, and it was really easy to start up a conversation. Again, this can be personal. I just want to know who to grab a beer with, or this can be professional. Oh, there's people in my city. I'm looking for a new job. How do I meet them? And universities also typically offer their career services to alumni and not just students. So if you're looking for professional connections, this is also a great place to start. LinkedIn, I was joking when I was giving this presentation to a friend that I wish there was an app for mentorship. How do you match people? But I think LinkedIn is it. So if you ever have used LinkedIn, this is also a space based on connections. You already have something in common. You went to the same university, you know the same person, you posted about the same hashtag. There's a million ways. So this is a great place to start, and it's not super scary because you can actually search and filter some of those values and credentials that maybe you've thought about. And I encourage you here to be bold and reach out to people, have a warm connection, or post about it. Hey, I'm looking for a mentor. And if you're a mentor, this is a great place to look for someone that might be in need of one, or maybe make some connections. This is an awesome and easy place to do it. And finally, role or industry specific professional organizations, Project Management Institute. In the last session, I just learned about another professional organization, but these are typically well established and they often have robust mentorship programs built into them so that you can either apply for or volunteer with. So these are great places to start too if you're looking for something more professional related to or location specific. They often have a lot of groups for that. So now I want to hear about you, where you found some connections, if you found success at any of the places that I've offered, or you have other suggestions to add to it. Where have you sought out these mentors and where have you found these meaningful connections? We have one in the back over there or in the front. I'll wait patiently.
Hi, my name's Chris. I participate as a mentor through the PMI DC chapter,
Okay.
and this is pre-COVID, but my protege, mentee, saw here at a few times. Megan, I gotta look for my experience. It was great because I benefited from mentors earlier in my career in the military and in the private sector. So what drove me was sort of like the payback or give it back, and I thought it was it was certainly beneficial to me as a mentor. I hope it was beneficial to my mentee. What I reflect and what I remember the most about were me trying to be strictly in listen mode and not problem solving mode. But a lot of the frustrations that she was sharing with me was like, welcome to project management. So it was sort of like a crucial conversation that, wow, if these things are really like not something that you can work through or work around, this is kind of what project management is about. And it's going to be like the patterns seem to be pretty universal, the kind of problems you see and and I think that was enlightening or illuminating for her
Sure.
because I think early career, first time in a sort of a role of a accidental project manager, she seemed to think it was unique and localized to her and her organization and didn't have the benefit or the knowledge that some of these things are quite universal. So that
Definitely.
was what I remember taking away from that experience. It was very beneficial. I hope to do it again.
Sure.
But that was, I guess, your last bullet on the list. It was PMI Washington, D.C. chapter. Thanks.
That's awesome. And you make a great point that sometimes engaging in mentorship, just you validated that experience for her. Like, we're all feeling this. I hear you. That's super important. And by maybe her realizing that some of these things are struggles that she doesn't want to deal with, or that maybe that's not the job for her and helping her navigate to something else. So that's great. Thank you for sharing. Go ahead.
Hello. So for me, I found my mentor through my company, but specifically through our teammate resource group. So it's an I think most places would call it an employee resource group.
Mm,
So my company established those 2 or 3 years ago now, like post COVID. And we have a women's teammate resource group, and they started a mentorship program. And that is how I became a mentor at first, and I became a mentee, which then gave me the confidence to go on and be a mentor
amazing.
as well. And I just go back to your point on age. I have two mentees, and they are both younger than me now, but it took a kind of step into the unknown for me, because I was like, there is no way I can be the person who has enough experience to mentor someone. Like, it's just not possible. And in stepping into that role, I've realized, okay, I actually do have something to offer. So I would just say, if you're thinking about it, do it. It's really great. And then also through my university's alumni network, I went to the University of Warwick. No one here will know where that is, but I'm a proud Warwick alumna. They have a specific alumni mentorship network that they are trying to expand. And I was one of the first people to actually do someone reached out to me specifically for project management. And I mentored her for a year and a half. So
That's
both of those were
awesome.
great.
Thank you so much for sharing. And your employee resource group touched on the piece about identity. You already had something in common. You were seeking that experience specifically. So that's really great. Thank you so much. One more? Oh yeah, go ahead.
For me, what I'm about to say is probably blasphemous to some people, depending on how they feel, but Facebook actually. There are Facebook groups out there. Two groups that I'm in are Black Women in Tech and Black Women in Project and Program Management. And especially the project and program management, there's a lot of people trying to transition into project management or program management. And we all know there's a lot of information out there, PMP, CAPM, and a lot of them feel that you have to get those in order to be a project manager. And it's like, no, those are not licenses. They are certifications, is where the difference. So specifically for me, I'm in marketing project management. And so a lot of people are trying to transition into that. And that's kind of how I found my mentee that I'm working on right now, because she was in marketing, but she's tired of the brand side, but she wants to be in the project management side.
Awesome.
So that's what's been helpful for her. And it's also helpful for her to be able to talk to someone, one, in the field, and two, to be able to sift through all that information out
Of
there.
course. That's something you can't, that experience that you're sharing is not something you can find when you ask ChatGPT or Google, what do you need to be a project manager? Because PMI is pushing their certification, but she finds you and she gets a lot more information. So that's a really great example. Social media in general. And as you mentioned, having that commonality kind of set you up to be connected. That's great. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I found the mentor in myself, and it was the time during COVID when I came here. Actually, I came to the Dubai to join the software industry as a DevOps. But then during the COVID, I realized what I'm doing. I think so. This is not for me. And then I switched to the project management, and it was all about myself who mentor me. And it's a continuous process, and I achieve a successful career path. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so now we've talked a little bit about the mentee, and so I want to move into the practical framework. And something I forgot to mention at the beginning, because I was just so excited, was why I'm so passionate about mentorship and giving this presentation. Being in my new role now, where I'm, like I said, a manager, striving to be a mentor, kind of inspired this presentation as a whole. But I really think that life is all about who you know. It's all about the people. That's the core of our world. And in the presentation about AI, he's talking a lot about what AI can do, but it's not going to replace that human touch. Humor, for example, joy is not something you can get out of technology necessarily. And surrounding yourself with people who support you, who encourage you, who advocate for you is really what's going to make your life better. And so engaging in mentorship is the ultimate way of giving back. And you touched on that a little bit in your answer. It's how we move the field forward, and honestly, how we move the world forward. Giving back to each other, connecting with each other is the only way to make a difference and hopefully make a positive change. So that's part of why I'm so excited about this. And I hope what I'm about to share in the mentor framework are some tips and tricks on how you can bring that into your own relationships as mentors or otherwise. So one of the ways that I learn best is through acronyms and songs. I won't share a song with you today, but I am going to share an acronym. So I'm going to use the word mentor for the framework today, and I'll go through each of these letters and how they're key pieces of the framework. Okay, mentor stands for model, encourage, navigate, time, opportunity, and recognize. I hope by the end you'll use this to remember those. So M stands for model, practice what you preach. This one seems the most self-explanatory. This is where you have the opportunity to not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. If you are giving advice or guidance on a specific skill or behavior, you should be doing the same thing. If you're telling your advisee, your mentee to show up on time, you should be doing the same. If you're telling them to be present, you should be turning off your notifications. If you're encouraging them to write firm but warm emails, your writing should reflect that. This is your opportunity to model the behaviors that you're talking about. And one challenge that you might see when it comes to modeling is when you are navigating difficult conversations. Just like with any relationship, you're not going to see eye to eye 100% of the time. That's okay. But if you did your inner dialogue before and you thought about the values and the identities that you want to share in that relationship, hopefully you have very few difficult conversations to navigate. But sometimes it'll come up. But as a mentor and a model, you have the opportunity to to model how to have honest, open, and respectful communications with your mentee. And this is where the mentee also offers that different perspective. You may have different experiences that lead you into this conversation, whatever it may be. But it's a really great opportunity to help them navigate through those conversations. And instead of avoiding hard things, you work through them. Okay, E is for encourage, support ideas and bolster confidence. This is where it's really the benefits of being a mentor is that you have an advisee who walks into the room, maybe brings you a challenge, brings you a struggle, brings you an idea they want to explore, and you're there to encourage them, to let them know they can do it. You're here for them. You want to support them. How can you help them? This is where you can do that. For example, in a project management capacity, if you have an advisee who receives a nasty email from a client, you can encourage them that it's going to be okay, that they know how to respond, and that they're going to kill them with kindness and just do it all over again. It's going to be fine. I think this has come up for a lot of people. N is for navigate, acting as a guide on their journey. As I mentioned before, you are there to have that experience, so you have the ability to zoom out and see things from a larger picture. Like I was looking back on my experience of how I got here. Your mentee who may not have had that experience has no idea how they're going to end up in your shoes, right? You want to help them see where the different paths in the road are going to take them and allow them to explore those different ideas. T is for time, commit and be present. I think this is the biggest element for me. Great relationships, strong relationships, relationships with trust and respect take time. This factor, I think, cannot be overstated. Time is super important. And I think the biggest challenge we face here is that we tend to overcommit ourselves. We really want to be involved. We really want to give back, but do you have the time to do that? And as a mentee, you're adding to that dynamic as well. So do you have the time? You're seeking somebody out. You're asking them for their time. Are you able to give that in return? And when you do spend the time together, how are you using it? Are you setting an agenda? Are you meeting at a coffee shop? Are you Zooming or FaceTiming? Whatever it may be, just make sure it works for the two of you and have that conversation early on so you can agree on that. O is for opportunity. Seek out and share resources. The mentor in this instance is going to be the watering can, and the mentee is going to be that cute little seedling in the ground. You want to offer them sunlight and water and shade if they need it. And you want to help them blossom into something beautiful. I think this is the key element of what differentiates a manager and a mentor. Your mentor is going that extra mile to offer you opportunities. They're bringing you into their network. They're saying, who can I connect you with? They're listening to podcasts and sending them to you because you said, I really like this person and they want to hear about them. They're sending you a newsletter with a conference that you might want to attend. This is going that extra mile. And I think mentees can do the same. Again, sharing those different perspectives and experiences, you can be doing the same thing for your mentor. And finally, R is for recognize. Offer affirmations and regular feedback. Everybody wants to know that they're doing a good job. This is a core element to being a human being. And offering that recognition can go a really long way. Just saying good job or your email was written really well. I really enjoyed our talk today. Something like that can go a really long way. And just like when you're a kid and you got a gold star in your math test or a sticker for doing something well, it feels really good. And so everyone here today showed up to this conference to better themselves, to this workshop to be a better mentor. So I want to offer each of you a gold star as well. So you can just pass those around while I keep talking. And so now that we've talked through the framework, model, encourage, navigate, opportunity, time, and recognize, I want to hear from you how you're going to take this away today and put this into practice so that you can be a great mentor or a mentee. And I also want to remind you that you don't have to do all these things at once. Let's start small, somebody said earlier, Rome wasn't built in a day. Great mentors were also not built in a day.
Check out our website, pm.umd.edu, for incredible free professional development opportunities. There, you can find courses, events, articles, and more. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with someone who might like it, because learning grows when we make it a conversation. See you in the next one.